Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Evilometer. Another spring edition.
Oh my god.
It's freaking beautiful outside. What the frick?
Oh my god, it's beautiful. Was that sort of a Joan Rivers?
Yeah.
Maybe
Can we
not.
talk? You're beautiful.
Can we talk?
Oh, God, you're beautiful.
Well,
That's our special guest. We're so excited.
Can we talk about the fact that Mike's in England?
And Sean Cullen is taking his place. He's sitting on top of where Mike would be.
Have you seen what I'm wearing right now? Oh, my God, it's disgusting.
What are you wearing? I'm dying.
She's a pig. She's a pig and a whore.
And we're not even doing what's her name this
No.
episode.
We could. But I did one show with her, and she was very nice.
You did?
She
Joan
seems
Rivers?
like
I opened
What-
for her at the Rose Theater in Brampton.
whoa.
And she was so nice, but insane. But
Yeah.
her face did not move at all.
Yeah.
Like a wax thing, applique.
But she always seemed awesome and
Well, I look at
like
her-
Did she
she
seem
loves
awesome?
people who work like she loves comics. And
Yeah,
She
absolutely.
earned her dues doing it.
Well, she started
Like-
when it was like strip clubs for,
Yeah.
like there weren't really comedy clubs. It
Yeah.
was nightclubs. And, she was women like her, like Phyllis Diller and, anyone who was a comic woman. How's your chips? Anyone who was a woman who's a comic had to fight that. And just to be, like, you think what it's like now. What was it like then?
I wonder
Yeah,
if she
good
ever
point.
stripped.
I bet I'd love to see her naked.
Oh fuck, man.
Right now, even if she was dead.
Google image search.
Could you, AI, build me an image of the nude body?
You're right. We can make AI Joan Rivers porn.
Thank you, AI.
That's what this story is about.
Oh, put it in me.
I hope any
Oh.
computer that
Oh,
was
put it
going
in
towards
me.
cancer
Can we
research
fuck?
can
Yes, divert money to
can we
cancer
fuck?
research. Yeah.
Yeah, to make this happen. Like, we need this.
We need to make whoever is.
The kids are going to die, right? The kids are going to die no matter what we do. But we can bring Joan Rivers back to have sex with us virtually.
I can't believe AI took our jobs away from us.
Oh,
but also
your cock
AI.
is so big.
Can you make
Your
Joan
penis
Rivers
is so enormous. I can't take it all.
Yeah, I never could have written that.
Yeah, that's an
Imagined
AI.
it, or imagined it in my
You
head.
need AI to do that.
Yeah.
Can we fuck?
Hello. Are you going to eat that? Put it down and then have sex with me.
I'm about to go on stage in 10 minutes. We gotta fuck right now.
Have you met my beautiful daughter?
We're talking about the heroism of Joan Rivers and Phyllis Diller eking it out in the man-driven hellhole world of like 50 years ago comedy.
And still, we're
And
just
then we're
being
just like,
men.
let's fuck.
It's the worst thing you could ever
We're
do.
the worst people on the planet. What other credits should we say you have, Sean?
Me? I don't know. What have I done?
We do Two Sailors Are Nuts together.
Yes, we do. We're going to be going to Edinburgh this year at the
guys.
tiny. It's called the Dram.
Yeah.
The Gilded Balloon Theater in
Edinburgh.
in Edinburgh.
I'm really excited.
It's
We're
pretty
gonna lose
great.
our minds.
I think you'll lose your mind.
Yeah, you're fine. Your mind's long gone.
My mind is really soft and pliable, so I don't lose it. It sticks to the
You
inside my
are pretty
brain.
resilient, I've noticed.
Well-
I am always panicking.
I'm always on the verge of death and dissolution.
Yeah, and I feel like that's approaching, but I'm fairly healthy, so it's ridiculous.
You know who?
And I'm
never-
pretty even keel.
You really are. You're kind
Yes.
of like you are a keel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am.
You're guiding everyone in this life.
James's
feel that way.
James's motto is "I'll kill you."
If you fuck with me, I'll kill you. Not kill you. Kill you. Help direct you away to
To a place where you can get fulfillment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
we kill?
Sean, I mean, Corky and the Juice Pigs way back
Yeah,
in
I
the
guess
day.
that's good.
Probably a million TV shows, I bet.
Yeah, I did some.
I remember watching you on The Tonight Show when I was in my 20s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I must have been in my 90s. Yeah, I was old. But yeah, I did the Tonight Show. But of course, it was with Jay Leno. I couldn't be there when it was someone I liked. Not that I don't like him. He was very nice.
He's so
a
nice.
bit of a dick. No, he's
Was Corky and the Juice Pigs, was that named after the main character from the show Life Goes On?
No, we got that a lot.
Oh, shit, I'm sorry.
That's all right, but it's true. My girlfriend's father had a pig when he was growing up.
Is that right?
Well, his family lived on a farm in Holland, and he grew up having this pig as a friend. And then one day the pig wasn't there. The friend was gone, and he was eating him.
Oh, my
I
God.
hope he at least was cooked as cooked him.
That's Dutch.
Met him, he ate him.
Well, ate.
I stole that joke from Mr. Show. One of my favorite Bob Odenkirk jokes.
Really?
Yeah, the sketches is like, it's like alive, but they crash, and they go and find the crash, and there's only one survivor, him, and he's enormous, like 400 pounds. And it's revealed that they only crashed like 30 minutes ago.
I had a sketch. Well, you know the show I did.
But then he goes, met him, I ate him, and they take him on the road like a vaudeville act, and he's killing it. It's so funny.
I had a sketch like that that I wrote for Paramount Comedy Channel for that show. What was it called? Unnatural Acts.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
it was people around. There's a ring road, the M25 around London, and there's like we're broken down. Oh, you see this family, and they're in a car, and they break down. They're like pull over to the side of the M1 freeway. And then, a tow truck comes, and the man has eaten his whole family because
He had to survive.
Yeah, he had to survive. But it was only like 20 minutes.
I love that.
Would you, if you really, really had to, do you think you could eat human flesh?
Sure.
I do too.
Only if it was in the form of like a McNugget or something.
So heavily processed.
Yeah.
And looks different.
Yeah. I'd eat human flesh nuggets in the middle of a pizza pop.
I would eat them smoked.
Ooh.
Smoking, like we hung them up. Like those thighs are like huge hams, right?
And the butt, I guess.
Very nice.
Especially some thighs I've seen. Hell yeah.
Oh.
I've already gotten in trouble for trying to eat a couple of those.
You know, The Rock, his thighs I'd eat.
That's not what I was thinking.
I would.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Oh, if I had
The
to
Rock
pick
is
a
a great
human-
actor. Also, I would love to eat him.
Hey, it's me, The Rock. I'm starting a new restaurant where you can eat my thighs.
What am I cooking? My thighs.
I'm cooking.
What is his?
What's-
Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My thighs.
Yeah.
Bitch.
I'm cooking my own thighs, bitch. That's his new.
What he does is he just runs around and around in a pair of corduroy shorts.
Well, I think
He lost a lot of fans for being political last election.
That's what
Did
he
you see
said.
that video?
Why? What did he say?
Now he
I
says he
love
won't
And so
Good.
now he's saying, I'm really, 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 really sorry I was political. It's not my place to be
but
political.
you're sort of in the previous election. He said, "I support Biden."
Yeah.
And now he's like, "I actually realized that was a bad thing to do, and now I'm not supporting anyone because I don't want to alienate anyone."
Yeah, but
Might look bad if Trump wins and
he
it becomes
told
a
him like it
dictatorship.
looked like he was so. If you hear me crunching, it's because Sean brought a big bag
Now,
of Ruffles sour cream and bacon chips, the best.
It's pretty good.
we did have someone write as last time we ate chips that they hated the sound of it.
Sorry,
So I'm just letting
I'm
you
trying
know.
to put the mic away when I eat one.
Nice.
I'm gonna put the mic away.
But
And
you know-
just eat.
Oh,
Oh.
well, The Rock is so good at bodybuilding. I actually think he could probably slice off some of his legs and then just build it back with his muscle training.
Yeah, him and Marky Mark. Could
Yeah,
get together.
he could sell probably like 100 grams a year
Yeah, for sure. He could sell some of his own meat
and grow it back. Yeah.
Yeah, grow it back.
Marky Mark could cut off some of his leg, and it would have grown back by 6 a.m.
That's
From
right.
prayer.
for prayer time. Yeah.
Prayer. He'd pray for it, and also just be, so angry.
Yo, God, thank you so much for the rest of my leg. Let's try
One
it
of
out.
there's a comic, and I forget what his name was, but I was in Hollywood at the Largo, which was a great place to play, because all of the actors, all the people there were, and went up to be hugely famous, and then it was me. But
Was this when Paul F. Tompkins was doing his
Yep.
show there?
Yep,
Oh,
yep.
nice.
And who else was like, Paul F. Tompkins,
Dana Gould, was he
Silverman,
there?
Sarah Silverman, Dana Gould, just like, what's his name, Mr. Show. bald man.
David Cross.
David
Yeah.
Cross was also there. It's like that Marilyn Rice Cup. Do you know her? Yeah.
No, intriguing last name though.
Yeah, Rice Cup. She was really rude to me.
Oh my
She came
God!
right up to me and I said hi. I was just somebody introduced me to her and I said, "Oh hi, how do you do?" She's like, "How do you do?"
Oh,
And then walked away and I was like, "I don't need that."
and you just said, "How do you do?" I mean, good
yeah,
Lord,
I was a creep.
Sean. Are there any other celebs that you want to, drop the gauntlet on and say they were assholes?
I
You don't have to, but if anyone,
don't. You know what? No, I don't. I can't remember anybody that I didn't really like at all.
No, that was a rare. Ooh,
Dane Cook.
oh,
that's
fine.
Absolute.
That is absolutely fine.
POS.
Wow.
Yeah. He
It's
just
so funny,
kept
too,
go-
'cause
I
we-
was opening up, like I had to do. We're doing a Just for Laughs tour, and I was called in at the last minute to MC. So he kept saying to me, "Could you do less before I come on? Could you just do less before I come on? Just just to introduce me."
Yeah, like, because if you're funny, he's fucked.
Yeah, and he get the manager of the tour to tell me to stop doing jokes. And finally, I went on stage and I just pointed and said, "Dane Cook,"
No
to
way.
introduce him. That's
Nice.
all I did.
You dissed Dane Cook in real time.
He's a piece of.
Wow.
It's funny because before we started recording, we were
Thinking of doing Dane Cook as an evil man?
no, but
Oh, but
like
that's
we were talking about Elvis grooming Priscilla,
Yeah.
and then Dane Cook's wife is like what, 20 years old or something,
something like
and
that.
he's in his 50s, and also
They've been dating for 10 years.
They've been dating for like he's like we've been dating for 8 years or something, and everyone was like, whoa.
I actually saw him when I
Went to his senior prom.
It wouldn't be. It would actually. The years would line up. I saw him in L.A. I went to I can't remember, one of the comedy clubs there, and I saw him pull in like a Ferrari with a I think a different woman, but a very young, beautiful, skinny model.
Oh,
type
nice.
woman. Yep.
Lucky.
She
And
hadn't looked at his complexion at all.
Yeah, maybe.
you only get funnier the more you drive a Ferrari around.
That's what
true.
I think. That's what I think.
The people want to hear the Ferrari man's jokes.
Yeah, he looks like he's struggling.
Yeah.
What kind of troubles does he have? Oh my God, I can't stop using expensive cologne.
What's the deal with you guys? You stink.
What's the deal with me not having more money? We love that. No, we're bitter.
We do love to be bitter. It's a thing about being in comedy.
Being bitter keeps it real.
Other success lights a hateful fire inside of you that burns and burns and burns.
Well, for me,
All
it's like I
right,
look
it's
at
burning my
Bruce
insides.
Springsteen, right? Up to the point of like Born in the USA, he had a lot to sing about troubles on the streets. You know, what's happening?
Yeah.
I'm racing my Thunderbird. Whatever it was, you know.
Yeah.
And Born in the USA, and then
Blew up.
nothing. You have nothing to complain about anymore.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like salt of the earth, Jersey working boy, right?
Yeah. But it's
true.
not that.
It's
So
true.
what are his songs about now? Because I'm not really a Bruce Springsteen guy.
I don't know. The
Hanging a
Lost.
painting on at the
I'm
cottage.
trying to hang a painting, but I can't find a stud.
Yeah.
I'm gonna marry my backup singer.
I don't have the patience to do my own handiwork.
Oh. Yeah, it's pretty good.
And the guy, his guitarist, was also like a star of The Sopranos, right?
Oh yeah, Steven Van Zandt,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Wow.
It's a great world.
Yeah.
Those guys just started killing it.
Yeah.
And then his drummer became the Conan O'Brien
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
drummer.
right.
Max Weinberg.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Max Weinberg, one of the great Jewish drummers
Is
of
that-
our time.
Yeah, God, you're probably right.
And who else was in there? Eugene
Levy?
The big guy. What was the guy?
Dan Levy.
Clarence.
Clarence Clemens. He
Yeah,
played
he-
saxophone.
He died.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't
'Cause
know.
He The best, I think, thing that Bruce Springsteen did was Santa Claus is coming to town.
Ah,
Yeah.
And then you keep laughing because Clarence Clemens keeps going ho 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 in the background,
Is that true?
and he just can't stop laughing.
Oh, I've heard
gotta
that.
see that.
And you do hear Bruce be like, Santa Claus is coming to town.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've heard
It's
that
supposed
story.
to be jolly, a jolly time, anyways. Here's an idea that just came to me. A question: like, if AI does take our jobs, do we still have to die, or does that convenience help us live forever?
Well, we won't have anything to eat or anywhere to live, so
Yeah.
I guess we'll die.
But what about this? Like the government pays for our, what's that global wage thing? or whatever?
Universal Basic Income.
Universal
UBI.
Basic Income.
The best case scenario is AI takes all our jobs, and then we have a really good government, and then they're like, "Well, don't worry, we'll just give you money and live your life." And
That won't happen.
no, it probably won't.
We're
You should
actually
visit
getting-
Gross Morn. Like the government just like lets you go on nice
Yeah,
trips.
We're not going to have that kind of government.
No, it'll probably just be there'll be
They're going to get meaner and more selfish.
very few rich people and a lot more poor people.
Yeah, I just think some basic sea change has to happen. I'm afraid there'll be like a giant violent revolution because people will not be able to buy any place to live or have any food.
I mean, people already can barely
Cue All
buy a
Along
place
the
to live.
Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix.
And wow, I wonder how it all gets exacerbated. I feel like it's almost just too much to take in. But if Trump does win in 24 or in November, not to be, not to overblow it, but I think there's a half decent chance that becomes a threat to democracy. Yeah.
Here's the problem with people like Trump, and I think Doug Ford and Poilievre and people like that have no patience with democracy. They don't want to discuss anything. They think I got elected. I should be able to do anything I want with no oversight because I'm now this thing that was chosen, and it's really like that. That's what democracy is. The best kind of government is a minority government where you have to negotiate, so everybody gets something they need. And now it's just like bulldoze. Like you do not compromise with anyone, it's just the way the world is going. That there used to be tremendously rich people, right? But now it's so glaringly like that's me. I think my little machine. It's so glaringly
Your heart is racing.
difficult. I know I'm gonna die. It's so many people like, Loblaws, the guy. What's
Galen Weston.
Galen Weston, how much money do you need? How much money is too much money? Like Bezos has got like how many $1 trillion? That's countries could use that money to pay their debts. Why does he need that much money? And what has he actually done to deserve that? Who deserves it?
That's a
Who
good
deserves
point.
that much money?
He created an internet shopping market.
Yeah, he saved the world.
Created an online
And
bookstore
listen,
that
I
started.
use it and I buy
I
from
use it too.
And
I
you
know.
it's convenient,
It
but is it
is.
really enough to send a man into space just for fun? Like, is that what?
No, agreed.
It's jeez.
Don't worry.
I hate my phone watch.
Ding dong. It's okay.
I didn't mean. I
The
don't know
mic
why
probably
it's
doesn't even
turned
pick it
on.
up.
Well, can I ask both of you guys? I want to answer from both of you guys.
Yes.
During the revolution, if it's coming probably, eh?
I'm gonna do it.
In a tight, close-knit hallway, do you think you could take out 3 guys who have like helmets and like body armor on and stuff?
Unfortunately, that's a no from me.
You
I'm
don't
gonna
think so,
say-
eh?
Well, I could take out like a regular guy, maybe. Like if
Oh,
we're in
they
a
have,
hallway
like, they have
and it's just
machine
a,
guns too,
no,
and you don't.
No
Oh,
chance.
Well, then what do you expect?
No, but
Yeah.
you have to be quick.
But
Okay,
we're
God,
not
that's
like
the key.
20-year-old
with machine guns.
MMA guys, you know?
Yeah. They have to, when you already knock their arms so that they're spraying bullets on the ceiling. Then you get them low where the body armor doesn't cover their liver area.
Yeah,
You
and
give them a
slice-
couple jabs there with your left.
Yep.
You know
And
what
you
I'm
do
gonna,
that 3 times.
You know what
I do
I'm going
not
to be
know.
reduced to?
and you use one guy as a human shield.
Yeah.
So the other guy's machine gun sprays his face off.
Listen, he's trying to tell you.
I'm going to be
I'm so sorry,
I'm going to be
James.
reduced to seduction. I'm gonna have to literally seduce these
You're gonna have to
motherfuckers.
suck off all 3 of these.
Yes, and then when they're in the height of ecstasy, kill them. Like I have no other choice if we're coming down to that level of
Just bite
threat.
their dicks off one by one.
That's literally the only chance I have.
think
Any
that's a good-
automaton who works for the enforcing the government, the dystopian government too, they are horny as fuck, and they want anybody to suck their dicks in the hallway.
Any 40-year-old guy named James,
That's the
they'd love it.
That's the ultimate. I think if there are 3 guys in a hallway,
Yeah.
I think I'd run at them and fling myself sidelong
Yeah.
right at them.
Now we're talking.
Make them deal with it. Make them deal with how heavy I am, and each of them deal with it in their own way.
But that
Now,
is
if
a
one of
fighting
them
tactic,
locks- yeah,
bowling them over.
Then one of them will probably lose a weapon,
Mm.
and I'll be able to pick that up.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then their fucking faces become mulch.
I'm gonna just shoot with maybe one of those Scorpion miniature submachine guns, or like a Heckler and Koch,
Heckler and Koch.
HK.
Oh, really?
Yeah, H and
Oh, that'd
K.
be sick.
Yeah, and just unload.
Yeah.
Or maybe if they're carrying old style, AK-47s with those taped together magazines where one runs out and they flip it over and they stick the other one in.
That's cool.
I just use it all on one guy's face.
Yeah, and the other guys would almost like become on your side after that. They would
Think,
be like,
"Oh,
fuck, eh?"
That guy knows what he's
Maybe
up
we
to.
should
So
honestly.
it looks like Sean's strategy is to unload on them, and James's strategy is for them to unload on him.
Just the bukkake attack.
You may go.
I'm stuck with Chris and Mike, and you and Mike are like, James, do you mind? I'm like, God damn it! I have to keep doing it every
Yeah,
time.
we're just
soldiers
sitting there,
come.
arms crossed, one foot up against the wall, leaning back.
Just looking
Suck
at
them,
your
James.
watches.
Oh my
Our
God!
train is coming. Could you
James is the
use your hand as well?
Oh, guys,
James
fine.
is the deadliest weapon we have. We're an underground resistance that just sucks everybody's dick.
Yeah. That's what it's all
Well,
about.
some of the soldiers may be ladies. Let's not be sexist.
Oh my God.
What would we do then? We'd
But
no
we-
idea how to pleasure them.
They would have to lie down.
And we'd have to cry.
Do you mind lying down, faceless, nameless soldier?
Well, if it was women soldiers, I'd just go, I'm feeling kind of sick.
Okay.
Right. See if they go, oh, I have to take care of you.
I got another fun question for the two of you
I love
because
it.
this
I
is
love
a
it.
great formation of similar-minded in this instance, gentlemen.
Yes.
What is let's stay on this vibe because I like it. It's really funny. What's your favorite dystopian novel?
Oh.
Because I've read a bunch, but I've been trying to read old classics, and I'm like, fuck off. I want like a new fun dystopian that I haven't read yet.
I hate all the ones that are like young girl rising to the top despite the odds.
With like a
tired.
bow
So
and
like
arrow,
the
with
Hunger Games.
crossbow.
I hate them.
Well, those are more like they sound more like YA. Young.
Yeah, they are. Truly dystopian.
I mean, I know it's
Brazil probably was my
Oh
favorite.
yeah.
The movie, but it's
Yeah.
not a novel. I'm trying to think of.
I mean, I know it's super basic and the most obvious answer, but 1984 is it's pretty great.
One joke that I love to make when everyone's like, it's like frickin' George Orwell's 1984 over here. You know, everyone says that,
Yeah.
especially during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I like to go, yeah, you're right. Like how they always put a basket over my head with rats inside when they want information out of me.
Well, that's the thing that always
That's-
gets me. Trudeau's like Chairman Mao. It's like a dictatorship. You're saying that though, right?
Yeah,
public.
exactly.
Yeah.
You just
And no one's shooting in the
did
face.
a trucker protest for 3 months and nobody did anything.
Yeah,
There are people that have left North Korea 30 years ago and won't say a dissenting opinion.
No.
Still, because their brains are so scared and shocked for the rest of their lives.
I love that.
And then, we're living here. We're like, anyways.
It's so stupid. We're in a really dumb time.
But 1984, it's like, the double speak and the slogans and and they're listening like that. But do you remember the interrogation scene with the basket?
I do.
with
Room
the
102.
rats?
Room 102.
Yeah, that's all. I always remember.
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That was-
It's really good. I mean, it is the original dystopian future
Mm-hmm.
novel,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Well, you know what? Both Aldous Huxley and George Orwell were influenced by this book called We
Right.
by this writer named Evgeny Zamyatin, and I read that one, and it's really fucking good.
No need to swear.
Mhm.
I swear all the time,
I
dude.
get it.
I'm a sailor.
I know. Sailor in the Seas of Fate.
Yeah.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
What's that series you're telling me now with the warrior guy? I know it's not dystopian, but
The Warrior. Oh, it's a great book. It's by Gene Wolfe, and he won Hugo Awards for it. It's which is a science.
Right,
fiction
you're a big
award.
sci-fi guy as
I
well.
love
this is why I
it.
brought
Me
it up because
too.
we can't talk sci-fi and
Not
fantasy
when
if
Mike's
Mike is
here.
here.
And
God love him.
the idea of this
Yeah.
is it's right after the Persians have been defeated in their invasion, like the 300 after Thermopylae, and this guy. It's from the point of view of this guy who's had a head wound at that battle, and he can't remember anything more than 24 hours ago. So he's got to go through his life writing on a scroll, and he writes down important things that he has to remember, and every morning he has to get up and read as much of the scroll as he can, and he forgets people like, oh, this little girl came up, she's his wife. You know, she doesn't know anything about anybody.
It's
Every
like
day.
Memento set in the
It's
Persian
amazing.
War.
It's really fantastic.
Cool. But he's
And
like a
he
warrior.
Can see gods, like he can see the gods, and they like he'll go, don't you see that woman standing there with
Because of his head trauma?
yeah,
This is great.
it's really good.
Hmm.
It's amazing.
Sorry, I got distracted. There's gods everywhere.
Yeah, there's gods everywhere. Sorry,
Like just at a pub.
yeah, there's gods everywhere.
Hi, Chris.
What
Rock
will it
on,
be?
Chris.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, I can't see. There's gods
The guy
blocking
with
my
the
way.
club foot who's got the hammer, get out of the way. I'd like the
Yeah, I'd like some mead, please.
yes, if you don't mind.
Yeah, God, literally.
Oh, I love that stuff. I'm trying to think of what was the. I read a great dystopian future-ish book, but it's very hard sci-fi. A guy named Dan Simmons called.
Hyperion?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I've
wanna
read that
read that.
too.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
People go nuts over that. Have you read it?
He's
Yeah.
brilliant. He's really good. And he wrote another series, and it starts on Mars, where they've rebuilt Troy, ancient Troy, and they're reliving it exactly using quantum mechanics. They're reliving the Troy according to Homer's Odyssey. And this guy is a journalist who's watching the war and participating in it, but just trying to like he's a historian sort of thing.
Oh, wow.
And the world has just gone it's just gone so hyper scientific. Like the advances are ridiculous.
But do they live in the laws of like the ancient Greek times, or do they live by the laws of this like super scientifically advanced culture? But it's like almost like vacationing in the ancient Greek times.
Well, yeah, it's like
See what I'm saying?
vacationing. Yeah,
But does their mentality like switch over to the ancient Greek sort of mentality?
no, he's sitting there going like, he's completely aware of the world outside of the ancient Greek milieu, but the gods are living on Olympus, the mountain, and there are gods there, actual gods, and they are kind of running the simulation, and some humans are in it with cameras watching. And for example, he's sitting there going, I really want to get to the point where Nestor shows up and he talks about the centaurs, and I want to know what he actually meant, and if there were real centaurs or if it was something else. And it's really fascinating. It's great. But and then it's crazy. Like
Dan Simmons, if you're listening,
love it.
where do you get your ideas from?
I have a cool one that right there before we break.
Wandering Earth.
I haven't read that yet, actually.
Oh.
But Greg Egan Diaspora, and it was an interesting post-apocalyptic, it was an interesting story where it's the environment is degraded and the Earth's a wasteland, kind of, and there's still some people clinging to human bodies, but some people have put their consciousness in robots, and some people have put their consciousness just in big underground computers, and the people who've put their consciousness in computers, they sort of exist obviously in a very different way where they kind of have their own avatars, and that time becomes kind of like they could speed up time, and it's really interesting. It's pretty hard sci-fi, but it's an interesting one.
We're still recording, so you can use this if you want. But
Good.
what was Just for Laughs like in the 90s, early
Well,
90s?
it was really hyper.
Because they're bankrupt right now for people who aren't familiar.
It just was so important because back then
Yeah.
you didn't have any, like when we started, it was 1987, if you can believe it.
Oh, fuck. I always thought it was like 91 or something.
No, so we started in 87. Our first time, we just went to busk on the street and they stopped us. And people were reacting so well to us that they gave us a pass to be able to busk on the street. I hate busking, but we did it anyway just to be there. And then
How old were you, though?
I was 21.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I just left university. And we were doing the first year. We did some tour across Canada, but it was so vibrant. Like it was so important, and it was all Americans. All the agents and everything like that, and just vying for attention and trying to make your because this was where all the Americans came to see everyone. Like back then, you didn't have YouTube, you didn't have like Instagram or anything, and you'd have to see people to really know what was going on. So all these agents would come up from Hollywood to look at people and find the next great thing. It's not like Canada where they're trying to avoid the next great thing because the next great thing will ask them for something.
Yeah, the temperature of, I think the whole JFL really changed by the time we were getting involved.
Yeah, well, it's not important in the same way anymore. I mean, you could get a deal.
We were only there because of CanCon obligations.
Now it's just like a tourist attraction. That's what it became. And you can see comics anywhere. Like they have specials up the yin yang. There's so much cable, and you can see them on YouTube if you want to watch them. And it was just hard for me to watch. Like David Chappelle come up and get given like $200,000 to do a show, and we'd get $1,000 for the week.
Right.
And you go, that's my tax money you just gave to.
Oh,
that guy.
right. So it was still like that even
God,
back then.
right.
No,
Excuse
but
me,
I mean
right,
now
I
it is.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
back then it was, you had a chance. You were always the outside of the real deal. You were not important, but you could break in if the right person saw you and there's a nice buzz about you. So we did get that. But that's not possible anymore. No one signs anybody out of that anymore. And the last big Chicken was the last big deal. They gave like $1 million development deals or $100,000. Man, I'm crazy. But
Who's Chicken?
Chicken, exactly. Who's Chicken?
I know the animal, but
No, it was a comic named Chicken, and I don't know why he was big.
I don't know who this person is.
But when we were there, when I was doing my year as a solo, I got a deal with Universal, and
This is the 90s now.
Yeah, it was like 98, 99. And the deal, who was the other, what's his name? People, bananas. Yellow means be careful.
Mitch Hedberg?
Mitch Hedberg, that was his year. And it was, so he got a big deal, but then they couldn't make a show with him because he had he wasn't an actor.
He was just like a surreal one-liner guy.
Yeah. So.
Sean, I have bad news.
Is Chicken?
Chicken has passed away.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes.
What happened?
Well, it's actually genuinely quite dark.
Oh, God.
Chicken
Killed himself?
Yes.
Why?
I'm not kidding.
Because of what Sean just said?
Yes.
Seems very
We're doing this
quick.
live to air, and
Chicken is down.
Chicken had
Sorry.
depression, anxiety, bipolar, and he was upset about finances, and he killed himself. He was very young. He was only 32. 2009.
That's
I
wild.
know, that is sad. Yeah. And I was ready to just
Killed
have a
himself.
good laugh about that he called himself Chicken, but
Yeah, but what was his act like? Does it say?
I gotta say, it's a neat little mini story we just stumbled upon. But
Yeah.
sad.
He's not an evil man, though.
no.
No.
Doesn't say much about his style of comedy, but he was in a WB network sketch comedy series called Hype that was canceled after 1 year.
Let's say that mental illness is an evil man.
I would say that's true.
If you're Tom Cruise, you'd say it doesn't even exist.
No.
One evil man to the other.
It's just created by psychiatrists trying to sell you drugs.
Mental illness doesn't exist. Now, come on. Just duct tape me to the side of this airplane.
I'm not crazy.
I'm not crazy. Hey! He
I'm
blasts
not
off into
crazy
space
and I'm not gay.
Yeah. Don't try to stop me. And he jumps off a cliff on a motorcycle. I'm not gay.
Allow me to mention that Evil Men has a Patreon account that you can find at patreon.com/evilmen. And if you sign up and give a little bit of money every month, you get 2 bonus episodes a month.
Woo!
You get access to a ton of old bonus episodes. And you
All
get
of
to
them?
Yes, all of them, which
There's a
there's about
lot.
70 or 75 or
Jesus
something.
Christ.
And you get to join our Discord where we chat with everybody. So please check it out. We really appreciate the support, and it helps us do the show. And if you already do join the Patreon, thank you so much.
Sean, can you sing a song about our Patreon right now?
This is a place you can help anybody that you love. Why not love us on Patreon? Why not love us? It's not patron spelled wrong. Patron with an E in the end.
Oh,
Wow.
my God. We might clip that and use that
Jesus.
every time.
It's not that good.
It was pretty
It's
good.
Not on me.
No, it's not that good. Let's not use it.
No, my mother killed
Um,
the band.
And
My mom
also
killed a
rate us
hobo.
on,
Who was also my dad.
iTunes.
Right. Rate us. Smash us.
Do what to us on iTunes?
Rate us, Chris.
Oh, my God.
Have you ever heard of the website Hot or Not? Well, Apple kind of has a similar thing, but for podcasts, and you get to say if it's hot or not.
Rate an apple? I don't get what's going on.
It's
Oh.
like we're in a fruit basket.
We're in a fruit basket, and please pick me.
I want to be your orange.
Well, Sean, you know we can't. Mike is really good at this part. You want to give it a shot?
Sean,
Yes.
you picked this week's Evil Man topic.
Yes.
Who did you pick?
I picked of the House of Saxe-Coburg,
Wow.
related to, I think he's a nephew of Queen Victoria.
So I'm going to stop you
Cousin.
right there.
No.
Have you ever? No, nephew. I saw the documentary,
Mm.
or maybe you guys are right. But before we continue, because I like the suspense,
Oh.
and James knows I always derail the rhythm. But have you know those old paintings of Queen Victoria?
Yeah.
Where she looks super hot?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Would you lick her all over?
You mean later when she's grieving?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
She's the queen.
Yes, exactly. It's beautiful, right?
Having sex
Okay,
with a royal male or female probably sucks because they think, oh, I'm so amazing. I don't have to try.
What if you were
Either-
stuck in
either
a
gender.
small, tight hallway with 3 royal family
Oh,
members?
we could kill them.
Could
I
you-
could totally
It'd be so
deal
inbred,
with
they
those.
just, their bones would break just stepping the wrong
They all
way.
have gout fingers.
They really do, and they probably have one wandering eye, so they couldn't really get a good beat on it.
Okay, so nephew of Queen Victoria,
Yeah.
House of Saxondale.
Yes. Also
No, what'd you
a
say?
cousin, House of Saxe-Coburg,
Yeah.
Gotha, which is yes, Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. They are related to the current king of
Oh yeah.
the United States. Wait a minute, United Kingdom, and he was also I think, a cousin of Kaiser Wilhelm II, and it has a lot to do with his later activity and the reason for his awful evil.
Mm-hmm.
Has a lot to do with interfamily rivalry. His name is King Leopold II
Nice.
of Belgium.
And
Yeah.
I do have that information.
Mhm.
King Leopold II of Belgium was Queen Victoria's first cousin.
Okay,
And-
sorry.
Interesting note, he was also first cousins with her husband, Prince Albert.
Gross.
Oh,
So that's
kind of
weird if you find that out.
Yeah.
Are you inviting cousin Leopold over? Which one? The same one you have.
Yeah. He's my friend.
Hey, honey.
Hey, my friend.
Hey, honey. I think we have the same first cousin. Sean.
Keep the blood clean and pure. And we'll find out what pure
The thing is,
bloodlines do.
He's probably related to almost every royal house,
Right.
Because everyone was related. The Tsar, the Romanovs were connected through marriage to many of the what do you call them? The goats, Gotas.
Jeff Foxworthy would have had a field day of this time.
You might know you're inbred royal if you look in the mirror and you see your own mother. Well,
If you rule a whole country and grind every citizen up into ground beef, you might be a redneck.
if you bleed constantly from the tiniest wound, you might be an inbred royal.
If you've eaten all of the peasants' chickens in one weekend,
If you have more carriages parked outside your house than in your carriage garage, you might be a royal.
If you lead a giant army assault on an unwinnable objective, killing everyone, even though they weren't armed with weapons, they just had to come with a stick, and you kill them all, you might be an inbred royal.
I love this. He's rolling. Jeff Foxworthy's rolling in his grave right now.
I wish he was.
So, Sean, I've made some notes, but so I can talk through it, but jump in any time, or if you have it all loaded up.
I just have his wiki open.
Okay, so I'll just give the basic points, and please jump in, take over.
Did you take that giant chip?
Chris just ate it.
Were you saving this big chip?
No, I was looking at it.
There's always one big one in every bag.
You stinking
I'll say.
pig. You're the King Leopold II of this fucking bag of chips.
Mine.
So let's begin. King Leopold II was born in Brussels, Belgium, in 1835. Second child of the reigning Belgian monarch, Leopold I.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I know. But Leopold I's oldest son died before the second was born.
As people
So
did.
yeah, died young back then.
Yeah, people, if anything, you get a toothache and
You're
goes in your
dead.
brain and you die.
A chill.
Sometimes when I watch shows set in the olden days, I'm just like, how did these people make it to 60 and 70? Like they must have been
didn't.
rare as hell.
They didn't.
Well,
Here's the thing about living in a giant palace. The chill.
Yeah, it's cold.
It's
hard to
cold.
heat.
when people die of a chill, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
An ague.
Ague.
Yeah.
Ague,
That's what they
or,
called it?
Le grippe.
Right.
Grip.
That's when your nose just drips until you die.
Yeah. No, it's just a guy comes up and squeezes you.
Yeah. Drip for me. Drip. Drip. Mama, the drip for me demon has got me in his grip. Oh, the grip. The grip. Drip for me, you little Belgian bitch.
Yes.
But all due respect to King Leopold the
That should be
first
the
son.
The
we're
slogan
sorry.
for your guys' Edinburgh show. 2 sailors, drip for me, you little Belgian bitch.
It'll come out.
I'd like to just take a moment to say Belgium is a made-up country. And it was made up to give a buffer between
Germany
the
and
Dutch
France?
and Germany and France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's what the English kind of made it up, forced it on.
Yeah, because I read that at this time.
Because Germany kept invading it and not invading it, right?
Yeah.
I read that at this time, Belgium was only like 30 years, about 30 years old.
they picked
It had been part of
someone.
the Netherlands, right?
Yeah, and there was the Spanish Netherlands, and then there was the Netherlands.
Ah.
And the Spanish Netherlands were Catholic, and they were back and forth with France and Spain had invaded. And Spain dwindled in power, but then they became Belgium because England wanted someone to, be in between.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. Anyway,
Wow.
I
cool.
read
But
that
they
at
just
the time
picked
of
him.
this story, Belgium was only 30 years old and also a manager at a local HMV.
30 years old and still hadn't moved out from his parents.
So, yeah.
He was tempted to move to Tower Records because they had great benefits.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
But I get- but so
they
it's like-
picked this they picked all of the Goats, Coburgs got together and went, who's going to be king of Belgium?
So it's like a proxy rifle range for UK.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they just said, we'll give it to Leopold.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy.
So it'd be kind of like
It's crazy
someone
how arbitrary history
So
is.
someone just went like, I guess let's make Manitoba a country.
Yeah, and who's going to be king?
Mike Duffy.
David.
We probably will have to keep Manitoba as a buffer once. No, I guess we got Saskatchewan and Alberta rise up.
Because they have so much to offer. Anger.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. They're thinking clearly right now.
Right, so are we. Anyway, I interrupted.
No,
There you go.
please. Well,
That was really cool.
so 1865, Daddy dies,
Ouch.
and Leopold II becomes king.
I would like you to know that 100 years later, I was born.
Oh my God!
what was
the
it?
parallels
18
begin.
what?
65.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
To the day.
No.
You're King Leopold the First.
No, he
Ghost.
was already alive. Oh, yeah, maybe
Reincarnated.
I am. Maybe I am. I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
I feel ineffectual.
So at the time, and Sean, maybe you know about this, but Belgium was a constitutional monarchy, like I think we are.
Yeah.
So the king didn't really
He was
have
a
much
nominal
power.
leader.
He didn't
Yeah,
really
he
have-
was just like a figurehead.
Yeah.
The same way that we have governor generals that rubber
Yeah,
stamp all
and
of our laws.
I guess now the king is technically our head of state,
Yes, he is.
and he can't do jack shit over here, as
No,
far as
he
I'm
can't.
concerned.
Piece of shit.
Come and get us.
I find that very, very rude.
So during
All I know about him is he used to like the Goon Show in the 1950s.
He did. And you also...
When he was a kid.
Here's a crazy thing. He is related to Vlad the Impaler.
what?
His family...
We've done him, right?
is-
No, we didn't do him.
We did...
No,
the
you
live
were
Sean
him
did
on
a
the live
character of
show.
him.
That was the best.
And he has estates in Romania that he goes to visit all the time, and he just walks around like a normal guy, and nobody bothers him.
Wow, that's weird.
Weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really crazy.
Also, we know about him. What didn't a tape come out of the 90s when he was having his affair with Camilla, and he said he wanted to be her tampon?
Yeah, he wanted to be your tampon.
He did say that.
I don't
Because
know.
he's so absorbent.
And then I
Yeah.
remember
That's
Saturday.
what's in his fingers.
And he has a string dangling out of his ass.
Saturday Night Live did a sketch where Dana Carvey played Prince Charles, and he was a tampon.
That's so funny.
When I was a kid, it was pretty
It was
funny.
on the
to be
nose.
a little bit, not super subtle. So at the time, Belgium was going through a great industrial development, and Leopold, he's over here going, I think Belgium should have a colony, because a country can't achieve historical significance without one.
That's true.
A
That's
co-
what he thought.
Yeah.
Well, what was happening at the time was you were seeing Germany kind of coalesce into what it is today. At that point, it was a bunch of little duchies and princedoms, and slowly Otto von Bismarck was pulling them all together.
Was it still called Prussia?
Prussia was a separate country.
Oh, okay.
But it was the Germany that ended up being formed was driven by Prussia.
Yeah.
Prussia was the central driver in that. And so Bavaria and all the Swabia and all the little parts were, and Saxony, they all had their little place, and he slowly ate them all up and brought them in. But he
Otto von Bismarck.
yeah, and he
Yeah.
was really jealous of having like he said, made the German Empire, and he was really upset that France and England.
Leopold II
and
was?
Dutch, yes, but I mean Otto von Bismarck was really upset. We need an empire, so he started taking pieces of Africa, things of that nature, like Gambia and a few other places.
Yeah, there was like an empire race.
Yeah,
Like that basically motivated all these disparate European countries.
well, Leopold, when he became king,
Like that was their motivation to be a country at the time.
Yeah,
was,
well,
let's build our empire.
Yeah, that's what you needed, because you needed to sell products to somebody. I mean, you'd have to sell, like you make the products, you get the raw materials from the country, you bring it to your home country, manufacture it, and sell it back to your colonies. But Leopold, saw Germany doing this and saw France and everybody, and he was like, imagine going to like everybody's like summer get together, and you were the only one without an empire, and he's
Yeah.
like, I'm really like a loser.
Yeah.
So he decided,
That's awesome.
I'm going. The only place at this point, the race for Africa was in full swing. Everybody was trying to steal a piece of Africa, and so he decided, what I'm going to do is he went to a big convention of states, and
He
in
created
Germany.
it, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry. You're right. You're
Bismarck
right. This was-
hosted it.
Yeah.
It was in Germany,
Mhm.
and he said, I'm going to start this league of people who are going to help Christianize and civilize
Right.
the
Christianized.
people of Central Africa.
That was his basically excuse to pry himself in.
So he went
Civilize
in.
people.
So that's his plan. And so he announced this to everyone. It was like, oh, great. This is a great guy. Way to go. And he hired.
Oh, I've got it here.
He hired
Henry
an
Morgan
English-
Stanley.
Yeah, Stanley of
From
Stanley.
the
Mr.
Mr.
Livingston,
I
I presume.
Yeah.
Now, Stanley had made a trip from East Africa all the way across and up the Congo and crossed all of Africa. And he had mapped it all. So Leopold wanted him because he had the knowledge, local knowledge of the kings and the languages and everything. He wanted to be the figurehead of the company. Right?
It's like how France and the UK fought over Radisson here in Canada
Yeah.
when he learned all the fur trade routes in the 17th century.
He was smart. But he was a bit of a he's a crazy character too.
Henry Morgan Stanley.
Yeah, he was not named Stanley. His real first name, he escaped.
This is the best.
He escaped from an orphanage in Wales. Went to started sailing. Went on a sail. He signed up to sail. Got to New Orleans in the United States. He kind of got in with the guy named Stanley, who was a shipping magnate on the Mississippi. He said in his biography that he changed his name, was adopted by this guy. This guy never did that and didn't like him at all. Thought he was an incredibly vile person.
Jeez, he sounds like the talented Mr. Ripley.
Exactly like that. He called himself Stanley. He said that he was Sir Stanley or something. Oh, he was an American magnate, and that's how he got money. And he was a journalist, and he got hired as a journalist to go into Africa, and that paid for his expeditions. And he would go in and explore, but he was a total asshole. Like, he would just kill things and just massive, like, murdering animals and people and just the whole thing.
If you could take the asshole, horrible, inhuman stuff out of it, the idea of someone being brave enough to be like, I'm born in Wales in 1860, but I'm going to sail to New Orleans and then sail to Africa and trek through and map it, like, taking the horribleness out of it, I can't believe that mindset.
He's kind of the Donald Trump of his time,
right,
but a lot more capable. He actually did these things,
right?
But he sold himself. Like, he wanted to be an international star, and at that time, journalists and people who were
a lot of men kind of did at that time.
Yeah,
and Africa was like what you're saying, this weird hot place of like, man, I need to publish my book of my explorations in Africa.
Imagine how,
like didn't he write that book? It was called like The Dark Passages or
The Dark Continent.
Yeah, something like that.
Imagine how impressive it would be at the time. Like, it feels impressive to travel a lot now. Imagine like 1860s if you said, yeah, I went to Africa and I mapped all this stuff. It'd be like saying you went to outer space, kind of. I mean, the difficulty of getting there, I mean, you know? And the dangers.
It was like going to Asia or going to Africa. Africa had not been mapped.
It must take you months and months, right?
And not that Africa didn't have its civilizations and everything.
Yeah.
But they were not, and in some way, it was always been somewhat insular.
Mm-hmm.
It was like going to outer space and treating a whole bunch of aliens you just met like shit.
Yes, exactly.
It would be the best way to go. Am I right?
So this huckster, this adventurous con man psychopath teamed up with Leopold.
And he was the sort of front for Leopold's fake country which he used to make a colony.
Yeah.
In the Congo.
So what he wanted to do, though, but what Leopold did, which was incredibly cunning, was he got the Belgians to front the money. Like, the Belgian government paid for it, but all of it was in his personal name. He owned the Belgian Congo. He owned it all.
Right.
All
it was
land.
literally him.
It
wasn't
personally
Belgium.
owned it.
And the people that lived there had no idea about
No
this.
idea.
Well, I read about that.
That's what they did in Canada, too.
And feel free to jump in, Sean, but
love
Henry
to.
Morton Stanley goes around the Congo River basin, and he signed over a few years. He got over 500 chiefs to sign a
piece of paper
saying basically you're giving this to King Leopold II, and in exchange, here's a trinket or some yarn or something.
Well, it's basically what they did.
And they didn't know, like, from what I
they wouldn't
read,
know what this piece of paper
the chiefs
meant.
are like, I don't know what I'm sure I'll sign this, make a mark on this paper, and you give me some yarn, sure, whatever.
Yeah, but this is what is crazy about this is like, this is happening at the turn of the century, like in the late 90s, 1890s, up until he died in 1909 or 1907. He was doing this right in plain sight, and the horrors that kind of came of it were all completely modern. Like, this was incredibly modern, the first real modern genocide of people.
Like, oh yeah.
Well, there was an African one in Gambia
That we know of.
Yeah, that we know. Well, there's tons of them all the time. But hey, the follow on from that was he had a corner on the rubber market, because the rubber plants in the basin, the Congo basin, were like very plentiful. But he would send out whole villages. They would be forced to have a quota. They'd have to bring in a certain amount of rubber every month. So they would, but this work, they would go out into the jungle, and they'd have to go farther and farther as the plants were used. But they would go out into the jungle, and they would slice open the leaves of the tree, the rubber tree. It would drip out the sap and fall under bare skin until they were coated with this sap, and it would harden there. And they would carry it back to their village, to the depot, on their bodies, peeling it off. Incredibly painful process. Peeling it off their bare skin and giving it to whoever the factor who was in charge of the depot. And it would be boiled down and made into a rubber. But rubber at that time was like the car industry,
with the
everything was
bicycles as well. Rubber was in high demand, and Congo had a lot of rubber.
A lot of rubber.
Maybe it's at this point we should say that, like, yeah, King Leopold II and his minions thought of the Congolese as nothing more than like a farm animal.
Yeah.
Like, they did not think of them as
They were not
fellow human beings at all.
No.
They thought that they were just supposed to, like, manipulate them through violence and fear and literal savage violence.
Well, there's so many peripheral things that come about as a result of this, but you would have to get your quota. If you did not get your quota,
Right.
you would have a limb hacked off, usually your hand to start, and then your foot or whatever. And there'd be just piles of human hands at the side of the river as a kind of warning to people, you better get your quotas in. And there was but the people that ran this business were absolute horrific human beings.
And they also had a pact with this, like, cannibalist tribe that would sharpen their teeth. And so the local Congolese were, like, afraid of them too. Yeah. So they'd get, like, fed to them. And there was this story of this guy who escaped the Congo and for days or whatever, and they found him with his daughter's hand and foot, and the rest of her had been eaten by, oh God, I forgot what I wrote it. No, I didn't write it down, but do you have that there?
No.
But anyways, it's like the savagery from King Leopold Part 2
Yeah.
was like, it's
King Leopold II, Grave Intentions. Like, you know, a movie would...
Yeah.
King Leopold II, the Leopoldening.
But it's like, so I watched two mini documentaries this morning, and I was so dizzy about the lack of humanity in the world afterwards that I had to, like, chill outside for a sec.
And it just never stops.
The army in charge of the quotas was called the Force Publique.
It was a private army owned by
Leopold. Yeah.
And there was always this facade of there being a government and a self-government by the people. And it was just baloney. Like, you just made this up, and it was all for show.
It's a king who literally is 100% using this land and its people to make money for himself.
It is just for him, not for the Belgian people. No, they never see a cent of it. He keeps it all for himself. And he does these lavish building projects, like building mansion after mansion, castles, towers, none of them really for public consumption. Like there's some gardens and that sort of thing, but all of it is personal aggrandizement. It has nothing to do with the people of Belgium, if there are people of Belgium. Like, what are they? You know?
Yeah, not that would make it any better, but it's not like he was like, I built the finest hospital in the
Nothing
world.
like
or,
that.
You
It
know.
was all personal.
I feel like 30-year-old countries tend to always go in this direction.
Well, what's weird is like usually a 30-year-old country has no money, and has
Right.
is not at a level like it's basically very civilized. What am I saying? Like it's civilized, not infrastructure. It was Europe. It had all of that. It's not about
Advanced.
civilization. It's just they've got all their shit together.
Yeah, maybe we should say now, like slavery was abolished by this point too.
Yes.
So yeah, when you say civilized, you're
US?
right. Like yeah, and then so then they're coming over, and he's just going like this to the
He is,
Congo,
like,
keeping
whatever.
men in chains, like hacking their limbs off, like he said, as punishment.
They are absolutely property, and they don't even. He doesn't. The thing would happen is people would have to go out into the jungle to get their quota of rubber, and then they couldn't grow food. They would starve to death. They just didn't have the time to take care of their own lives, and then they'd lose money. They'd be sold into slavery. And other kings in the area, slavery was a thing that existed in Africa, but it wasn't the objection that it existed in the southern United States. It was more of a thing where you could graduate out of it, or you could escape it, and you could be pardoned, or it wasn't the end of your life or the world. But this became just like owning people,
Like farm animals.
Yeah,
like that's how they literally thought.
Another sort of
It's
grisly
ugly.
Another grisly detail I read was that the Force Publique soldiers, I guess Leopold or whatever, the higher ups were worried they would waste bullets
Yes.
hunting animals. So for every bullet they used, presuming it was to kill someone, they had to prove they used it on a human by cutting off the hand of a corpse, theoretically, and showing, like, here, for every bullet I used, here's a hand I've got. But this had the horrible consequence of making severed hands kind of valuable, because if they used a bullet for something else, they better have a hand for it. So they start cutting off people's hands just so they got a stockpile
Yeah, it's unreal.
to prove I used a
yeah.
bullet to kill a guy.
Yeah, yeah.
The
mean-
idea that a
God.
bullet is an expense, like
Oh,
they're
God.
just you can roll out thousands of bullets in an hour, but do you have to account for each one? Like that's how what kind of a business it was. Everything was just on the ledger. Everything was kept track of, and every ounce of rubber, and and Leopold became extremely wealthy, and people started to get caught onto what was actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
But Conrad, Joseph Conrad, took a trip up the river,
Heart of Darkness, man.
and he was just appalled by what he saw. And there was the one person, he wrote the book, The Heart of Darkness. It was originally set in the Congo, and it was made into Apocalypse Now, and but it was so similar to the situation. And he went to, he saw this one man, I forget his name, but he was a
Leon
commandant.
Rom?
Yes.
Yes, he was like the head of the Force Publique, and he decorated his garden with human heads and all this.
It was unbelievable.
Oh, so it's like Colonel Kurtz.
Kurtz.
Yes,
he'd
he
gone
was the
completely
inspiration.
berserk.
Probably.
Like he had lost his mind. But he was wealthy and he was untouchable.
And was just like killing people left, right, and center.
Yeah, it just became like nothing to shoot someone.
Yeah, they would like gut people and like rip out their guts and like
look at them.
yeah, just look at them and be like guts.
Oh,
That's all they
man.
did.
They'd say guts out
See,
loud.
this isn't as funny as I guess it should be.
It's not.
no, it's
but it's
disturbing.
very
but
interesting. I mean, it's
but-
horribly.
Well, I think it's a
interesting.
thing that's not really talked about in Belgium.
No,
I think it's a very ineffectual place, right?
But Belgium, it's more of a story now because of decades of covering it up.
Yeah.
That's what's so interesting about this story to me too. Is like, and even if you go over to Belgium, they will like, they have a different story about King Leopold II.
Oh yeah. Well, they're not
Like
gonna
he
say
didn't
was
go, he didn't know what was going on about the
total
atrocities.
baloney.
Yeah, like so they were. I bet you there's people there that are still trying to defend his legacy.
Yeah.
Like for a long time, like he had all the, yeah, like what you were saying. Once they started to catch on, you're probably gonna say it.
You should probably get that get it right.
Yeah, James will get it
No,
right.
no. Well,
I'm a rambler.
I was gonna just to mention a couple things. At the start of the public outrage, it seems like the first big, I guess, notable instance of that was an African American Baptist minister named George Washington Williams, who visited the Congo and wrote an open letter about the atrocity. Because in that conference, Leopold II was like, no, this is going to be good. We're not going to do anything too bad. And then this,
we're going to bring them
yeah.
to God.
And then this minister goes and is like, holy shit, this is really bad. And then prominent writers, as you mentioned, Joseph Conrad, but also Mark Twain and Arthur Conan Doyle took part in these condemnations. And Mark Twain wrote a pamphlet about it called King Leopold's Soliloquy. But yeah, so this was like a 30-year period where this was going on.
Well, after a few years after King Leopold II brought Christianity to the Congo, a few years later, the Congolese, a few of them were heard to have been said, God seems fucked up. Right?
God
Okay,
sucks. I'm going to
God-
go with that.
Why doesn't God like hands?
So it was
it's not a good way of spreading Christianity. But I feel like Christianity is just a black, dark, foul disease that corrupts the whole planet. Sorry if anyone...
I think that's religion. You could say that.
Religion
about all
sucks
religion.
shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so do rich people in power with no humanity within their soul. I'm sorry, James.
And
Well,
while we're at it, so do lane closures on the Gardner Expressway.
That's right. You know,
If we're going down
it's
here,
just like a dictatorship.
yes.
It's like George Orwell's 1984 on the 401.
It's like Brave New World that has such people in it.
It's like Brave New World. I'm doing drugs and having sex all the time.
It's like Orson Welles' mother's house. It's broken.
The toilet's broken, Mom.
I'm trying to take a crap.
Don't write this down, George.
Well, yeah. Or
Don't write down the sounds you hear coming from this bathroom, George.
Well, and then he dies, right?
he dies. And I just want to mention,
But I just wanted to say he had all the documents from the Congo destroyed.
Yeah, burning them.
Yeah.
Because he knew he wasn't well.
so over this 30-year period, they estimate that 10 million people were killed. That was half the population, they guess.
So, like,
Half of the people died. Half the people in the Congo Basin.
Yes.
That's a lot of people.
Yes.
10
so
million.
No,
one
no,
guy.
seriously,
So
seriously.
one guy could get super rich selling rubber.
no, seriously, like,
Oh my God.
After watching the documentaries this morning, I was like, because it is a kind of quashed tale. It's not as out in the open, but he's just as bad or even possibly edging worse than Hitler. 10 million
Edging,
people?
you're not referring to.
edging him off.
No, I agree with you. I actually agree with you. He's
I
much worse
literally
than I would.
don't want to
No.
say someone's worse than Hitler.
Well, they're in the same ballpark. You could say
yeah,
that
they're
anyway.
they're
Probably.
both prime demons from hell.
Well, I think it's even. And if it's possible to be worse than Hitler, the thing that disturbs me most about it is this has no ideology behind it. There's no thinking behind it apart from a personal wealth. Like he doesn't have a philosophy. He doesn't have a political point of view. He doesn't have some doctrine he's trying to sell. He just wanted money and killed 10 million people to get it.
And not that would make it better if there was some sort of more human.
You would understand
reasoning?
somebody, though.
It's like, okay, you're an evil human. I can, but you know, I get the most evil point of view ever. Okay, that's your motivation, but it's so inhuman. His motivation. It's so. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, it's just to be so distanced from your fellow human beings that you can see them as just some a vehicle for your aggrandizement is unreal. Like, you know, when you look at somebody like, say, Stalin, and Stalin killed 22 million people during his reign for political purposes. You could argue that he was trying to have stability. They were surrounded with enemies, constantly fighting for the survival of the Soviet Union. This is just a guy who's head of a business corporation, who decided 10 million people is a great price to pay for me to have several castles and a lot of money. Like it is.
Yeah, but you know what? Honestly,
unreal.
at the end of the day, it's not King Leopold II's
Fault?
because he
get it.
suffered from affluenza.
Oh, he did. He did.
He also had ADD.
He also
And
He
look,
had
I'm not
psoriasis.
saying.
he had
Yeah.
psoriasis as well. He was itchy. He had shingles later on in life. He had chickenpox as a child.
To our listeners, I actually do recommend like looking at some of the docs out there. There's that book that you read that has a documentary.
Ghost of King Leopold.
Yeah.
King Leopold's Ghost is
Yeah.
an unbelievable book.
It's but also be forewarned. It's some of the darkest
Harrowing.
moments of humanity that I've ever been aware of. Like holy fuck.
So harrowing. I have to take some chips.
Yes.
Oh, that's bad. Well, just to wrap up his story, so this mounting pressure where people are like, "Hello, this is extremely bad."
Let's see some accounting. Was the other thing? What's the accounts? We need to see what was this money going, and that's
Right.
he burned all of it,
Wow.
so nobody could.
So
Find
maybe
out.
oh my god, I never even thought of that. But his burning of records was to cover his ass financially and not even the atrocities probably.
Yeah, he hid a lot of the money, and the Belgian government were like, "This is called the Belgian Congo. Do we get any of this? Like, what is the deal?" And
Yeah.
they never got any money.
We need to make chocolate.
Anyway, let's finish it.
No, yeah, 1908, the Belgian government finally forced the king to end his rule over the Congo and give it to them. And then it was from 1908 to 1960 ruled by Belgium as the Belgian Congo, and then it got independence in 1960.
Now you say independence, but isn't the Congo's the prime mining zone for whatever like the cell phone shit these days?
Well, I still think they're their own country, but they might allow.
You know what I'm saying though?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of very like what they call rare earth minerals in the Congo Basin, and they cut down the rainforest to get it. But rubber now you can make synthetically, so that's not an issue. But yeah, I mean 1960, and still though you have
They're their own country now, but they have to do business, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's
Everybody
I guess
does.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
But Africa, because I think so many things, the Europeans came in and broke down so many social structures. You get now just strong men, warlords trying to take their piece of a country, and so it's all our fault. But
The Europeans want us to think it's a confused quagmire because if we start investigating, it's the ugliest point of humanity
well, the race
on the
for
planet.
Africa is one of the most devastating things that ever happened in any part of the world, and it's so sad.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's.
No, I'm
and,
glad we
the-
did this topic.
well,
Honestly,
the, point,
like,
the one thing, the point of view is,
Africa,
everybody thinks of it as one country, like it's
well,
just
some
one
Republican.
block. It's one big block, but it's like there's so many, even within different countries, which are kind of very arbitrary divisions. There are hundreds of clans and voices.
My brother's
languages.
wife is from South Africa, and she explained, she's a black South African woman, and she explained to me the sort of different tribes even in South Africa, and like it was really interesting.
It's fascinating.
Mhm.
And now you have people like, the Rhodes Scholar. The Rhodes Scholarship is based on Rhodes, the man who basically raped a huge amount of Africa and became extremely wealthy and founded the Rhodes Scholarship. But now you've got all these overseas students coming and saying, we don't want his name on this. Like, we don't, like, he's totally screwed us, and we want you to change the name. And Oxford refuses still to do it because this family of Rhodes is,
yeah,
we gave you the money.
it's his legacy.
Yeah.
Would you guys?
They're proud of.
You guys want to know even worse news?
No.
King Leopold II, still alive. He's 180. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding. He died. Thank God.
How did he die?
1908. Oh God, probably comfortably in a satin
Overdose.
sheet bed. I don't have that information, sadly. But his funeral was booed by the crowd.
Yeah.
But then people kind of
Okay.
forgot about the atrocities, and they put up statues of him in the 1930s in Belgium. Although I think, from what I read, that there's
The 1930s. Why? What was going on then?
people eventually kind of now there's a bit more of a movement to be like, he sucks, but
Yeah.
in Belgium. But
Well, what's interesting is his wife. He was married to, oh God,
probably
Elvis.
Maria
Stupid
and
chick.
Henrietta. No, she was really interesting.
Oh.
And she was absolutely poorly mated to him. Like she was nothing. Like she was not interested in getting married. She was forced to marry him. They never had any children. And once he died, she was so delighted. Then she got some of his money and went and lived abroad and had a wonderful life. What was her name?
Wow.
She had nice, big, beautiful hats. I saw in the footage. I saw.
Well, that's nice, Chris.
What
Yeah.
was his wife's name?
Women don't wear hats like they used to.
Maria Henrietta
I forgot
I
of
said that. I'm
Austria.
joking. What was her name?
Maria Henrietta of Austria.
Mm.
Oh,
yeah.
and then, but he also had his, he had a mistress.
That
And-
cad.
Yes, and they were just, but it's disputed whether they actually married or not. His first wife died, Henrietta of Austria. She left and would not live with him, and she lived abroad.
Huh.
And he had this actress who was, really into ugly facial hair and murderers. So she.
Yeah, he had a ZZ Top beard, eh?
Yeah, he did.
Mhm.
Well, everybody's crazy about a sharp dressed man.
They're singing it about King Leopold.
crazy for a sharp dressed man.
Well, Chris, the song "Legs" was about Leopold.
That's
He
right.
actually had incredible legs.
He's
Like,
got
really
legs.
Yeah,
Ah, but they
it's,
changed
it's
it.
He's got legs, but the
got legs.
Yeah.
He owns most of Belgium.
Somebody should.
He's got legs.
Somebody should question ZZ Top about their ethics.
Yeah, since
What the
they're
fuck?
really into
Since
Leopold.
every song is about King Leopold, the part
Yeah,
2.
it's really weird.
She's got legs. I mean, he does.
I love King Leopold. The second.
And you know what? They did the Back to the Future Part 3 soundtrack song. Remember, what is it? I don't know. They did.
Oh, I forget.
But they want to go back to the past.
But isn't that Huey Lewis in the News? Want to go
Well,
back in time?
That's part 1.
That's part
but
one.
Part 3, ZZ Top is in part 3. And they sing a
my
song
favorite-
about it.
Going back in time for the third time.
To burn documents.
My baby's crazy about going back in time.
We all stink and we're going back in time.
My favorite song of theirs is "Slip Into My Sleeping Bag." You know that song?
No.
Oh, it's great.
Slip into my sleeping bag.
They were a
Gosh.
part of this
How
band.
ironic.
Tombstake Boogie is also one of those.
They were part of this band.
The Croatians?
YY Top?
I think it was the Moving
YZ.
Sidewalks.
XYZZ.
They were a
Top.
60s like garage rock band called the Moving Sidewalks.
Oh.
Do you know that one?
Yeah, I know that.
It's really good
Really?
stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I think it's time we were paid a visit by the
Evilometer.
Evilometer.
Okay.
So, Sean, the Evilometer is a machine we input our evil scores into, 1 being the least evil, 10 being the most evil.
Perfect.
I'm going to go first. I think this is my first 10 out of 10. I think he's 10 out of 10 evil. Usually I leave a little room, but I don't know how you could get much worse. So I'll
No,
say
I'm
10.
going 10 as well. First 10 because,
Mm.
like I said, my nerves were shot after learning the depth of the story and the horror.
Well, I just imagine being in that situation where there's absolutely no hope of evading what's happening to you. There's nothing you can do. And it's just for such a cold reason.
If you see the picture of the men in chains too, like chains around the neck, like manacles or whatever, and around the feet, and they're just standing there like dead inside,
Yeah.
and people happily posing beside them.
It's
It's
crazy. It's like Planet of the Apes.
It's
It's
fucked
like
up.
when when they're holding up a dead human and the gorillas are all laughing.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. It's
Well,
like,
that's probably what that book was.
yeah, it was absolutely based
parodying.
on that for sure. I would say it is probably based on Belgian Congo.
Yeah.
A 10.
It's fucking psycho.
I'm going to say 10 out of 10 because I just loathe this man.
Yeah, I think
He's not funny. There's nothing funny about him.
you can't go.
No.
He's got to look at his beard. I mean, if you saw his beard, it's crazy.
Even his beard's not funny.
Look at
Yeah.
that.
I'm looking at
His
it
beard is
now.
a 10.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean,
Actually, ZZ Top has better beards.
yeah.
Really, except for the drummer.
It made me
Whose
think
name
like
is Frank Beard?
Yeah.
That is really weird.
It's one of the great mysteries
know.
of rock.
it's like how the one surfer of the Beach Boys drowned,
Yeah,
and
like
the other ones didn't surf even. So it's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? After watching these documentaries, it made me realize about humanity is like, I really do think that like
We deserve to live.
kindness only comes from poor people, because
Yeah.
poor people need the security. They need something to look forward to. They need like help from their community, and the very rich people who have it all have nowhere. When you're poor, at least you have a motivation to move forward somehow. When you're rich, you have everything and you have nothing left to do but cultivate your savagery.
I would
Does that make sense?
I would also say
Like sharpen your savagery.
if you have accumulated obscene wealth, it indicates a lack of compassion and almost a
Yeah.
sociopathy. Is that a word? Sociopathy. Thank you. Because
I'm a sociopathist.
how could you not feel like, oh, I should give some of what I have? I have a billion times more than what I need. How could I not give it to help
If you
those
start
around
poor,
me?
you have that instinct in you, because you can have like the empathy is there from the times of the streets of the survival. I
You don't
know.
think there's ever been a bad poor man?
Well,
Well, you're driven to do bad things to feed yourself and to stay alive.
yeah,
And it's not to say that every poor person is an angel, but
no,
I think you become detached from other people when you have a lot of money and
Yeah.
everything is taken care of. You begin to see people as services rather than human
And I
beings.
do think people become depraved sometimes, i.e., the whole Epstein thing. I don't know. I believe becoming too rich and too powerful could fuck with your brain and make
like you only start moving sideways in this like kind of evil, indulgent manner because you have everything. It's so funny that when we were kids, people teach us like absolute power corrupts absolutely, and we go, yeah, okay. And then the older you get, you're always like, wow,
It does.
I'm really fucking like thoroughly learning this.
Yeah.
Like it just keeps getting richer and richer the more you discover.
Well, you feel entitled to all of the things you have. And that's the thing that gets me. It's like, I don't see how you're entitled to make $1 trillion. No one needs that much money. There's no reason for it.
And we're back to Galen Weston.
Yeah.
Well, Sean,
No, it's true.
Sean, do you have like another 20 minutes or so to do a bonus
Jesus Christ.
episode?
Yeah, I
Oh,
guess so.
no worries if you do. Okay, so we'll wrap this one up. Sean and Chris, before we go, you guys are doing the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Yeah, July 29.
29th to the 28th of August, I think it is.
Wow.
But
that's
also in
exciting.
Canada, in May 19, we're in Peterborough again at the Pig's Ear, which was really fun last time. And then on the 23rd, May 23rd for 23, 24th, 25th,
In Ottawa?
we're in Ottawa at the Laugh Lounge, which is a really fun club.
Oh.
And the two of us are going to stand on a tiny little stage and just say
We're
insane
going to have
things.
the best time of our lives.
So May 19, whatever.
Peterborough?
Peterborough.
May 19, whatever.
May 23rd, 24th, 25th, Ottawa. And I think we've got a Kitchener date coming up too, but I can't remember. Let me
well,
see. Yeah,
We're going to go to Berlin and do a show there. Berlin, Ontario.
yeah. Yeah, that'll be sick.
Kitchener.
Kitchener, we called it.
Sean, is there anything else you want to mention that you're doing? You got out there. You want people to
Well,
check
I wrote
out.
a book called The Book of Justin. It's kind of it's a New Testament told from the point of view of a slightly stupid guy who was not always on right up close to the action. So it's a lot of mistakes.
I didn't know you wrote a book.
Yeah.
He's written like a ton of books.
Well, I've written 5.
I had no
young
idea.
readers. And you can get it on Amazon.
Dude doesn't stop.
All that stuff. I'm working on a new novel. I'm almost finished. It's taken forever, but it's a fantasy called The Last Pendragon, and it's about if King Arthur existed now, but he's a kind of a loser who's lost everything. Like he lives on a tiny hut on his own manor house because he had to give it to the government. But it turns out that Morgan Le Fay has returned, and she's going to destroy all of Britain, and he's got to assemble a Knights of the Round Table from, like Sir Elton John and people like that, and it's going to be fun.
That's really funny.
Damn, that's
Can
amazing.
I say a thought that I've had recently,
No.
inspired by some of the premise of your book?
He said no.
Yeah, but I always motor through, and
I get it.
he's always trying to out alpha dog me.
Got it.
Got it.
I did. Already done.
Already
I'm just letting you do this now.
Oh, thanks. You just think of me as a piece of property.
I think you'd be a piece of shit.
Well, listen to this. Okay, like the Gentleman TV show,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the other movies that have come out recently
What about
in the UK, they're taking high advantage of these massive estates now,
Yeah.
and that's totally connected to them being broke.
Yeah, they don't
Right?
have any money.
They rent out these massive old ancient lords and families' estates for TV shows and movies now, because
Yeah.
every fucking British show has them now.
Because they can't sell everything.
Yeah,
Like the stuff is all heirlooms and it's all historical.
yeah,
They can't renovate. They can't do anything. They just have to maintain this
Yeah.
giant white elephant. And so most of them don't have any wherewithal to pay for anything. So like that, the Gentleman is really about a lord who's the front for
right.
grow up, right? The
Yeah.
secret grow up.
It's kind of got the story in the story.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. Did you watch all of it?
I haven't yet.
It's good.
Wow.
Guy Ritchie's new show.
Oh, I want to watch it.
Well, guys, that was another horrifying but also edifying and great episode of
Emo Man, the podcast.
Evil